A 12,000-year-old ancient sphinx was recently found in Pakistan. As the title suggests, a second colossal sphinx was actually discovered not too long ago, this time in Pakistan to be precise. The Balochistan Sphinx, or the Lion of Balochistan, is a rare shape in modern-day Pakistan. The oddly shaped building, which is located in Lesbela, Pakistan, resembles the famous ancient Egyptian Sphinx in Giza in some details. As a response, modern historians and writers believe that long-lost cultures flourished before ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians. Hence, this odd Pakistani formation has therefore been the subject of debate and discussion. This is not the only ancient sphinx we've found. I've recently uploaded concerning the Buchegi Lost Hall of Records, the holographic Hall of Records, supposedly pre-flood civilization of very advanced beings, and that had a sphinx above it as well. Now, the odd geological formation in Pakistan was only revealed to the world when, in 2004, the Makran coastal highway opened up and people started transiting near the geological formation. The highway linked Karachi, Pakistan, with the port of Gwadar on the Makran coast. Despite a complete archaeological survey, this odd Pakistani sphinx is often passed off by experts as a natural formation. Different images from different angles of the geological formation may suggest a certain resemblance to the more famous Egyptian Sphinx. The monument, thought to have been carved out of a single massive limestone block sometime around 4,500 years ago, during the region of the reign of Khafra in Giza, the man who is also credited with building the second largest pyramid at the Giza Plateau. Photographs of the Pakistani Balochistan Sphinx, located in the Hingol National Park, cause more confusion than clarity, and some people may find it hard to believe that such a geological formation was indeed carved and shaped by natural forces. For some, the location where the oddly shaped formation stands may seem as if it were carved sometime in the distant past. And we have an image showing the Sphinx temple formation, underneath it with niches, symmetric patterns, steps, sediments, pillars. Now, a glance at the Sphinx appears to show a well-defined jawline, as well as clearly noticeable facial features such as eyes, mouth, and nose. These all seem to be perfectly shaped, as if carved in perfect proportion to one another. So would not this suffice to say that the Balochistan Sphinx was carved by man and not by nature? Not really. We could be seeing something that resembles a Sphinx of Egypt because of pareidolia, a psychological phenomenon that causes us to see things that are not there. Also, it's impossible to clearly state that something is or is not a monument or carved by man by simply looking at what appears to be rock formation in the middle of nowhere. Without a proper archaeological survey, we cannot possibly know whether the oddly shaped geological formation was carved by weather erosion or by ancient civilizations. Throughout the years, different opinions define the odd formation as one of a natural origin and one of artificial origin, and the opinions are divided. One author, Bibu Dev Misra, who runs this blog, urges the Balochistan Sphinx is part of a massive archaeological complex, and that the Sphinx is clearly surrounded by the remnants of ancient temples carved into the bedrock. Describing the Sphinx, Bibdu Dev Misra explains that a cursory glance at the impressive sculpture shows the Sphinx to have a well-defined jawline and clearly discernible facial features such as eyes, nose, and mouth, which are placed in seemingly perfect proportion to each other. But if it really is a man-made monument, who carved it and when was it carved? Oddly enough, just as the ancient Egyptian Sphinx appears to have a headdress called a nemes, the Pakistani counterpart seems to have one as well. Of course, this may just be part of pareidolia kicking in, drawing dots between a well-known monument, the ancient Egyptian Sphinx, and a geological formation that resembles the Egyptian monument. In addition to certain elements around the upper part of the geological formation, bearing a resemblance to the Egyptian Sphinx, Bibhu Dev Misra urges that more symmetrical features near the alleged Sphinx are evidence of human activity and contradict the notion that the site was carved by weather erosion. The author argues that we can see a clear symmetrical formation of the steps and pillars around the Sphinx, which offer further evidence to the idea that the Balochistan Sphinx was carved by man and not by nature. He writes, the steps appear to be evenly spaced and of uniform height. The entire site gives the impression of a grand rock-cut architectural complex. As for its age, it's impossible to know. The age of 12,000 years has been thrown around by various blogs and authors. However, since we cannot know whether this is really Sphinx or not, it's impossible to suggest an age for the alleged Sphinx. And without extensive archaeological fieldwork and archaeological excavations, we cannot possibly know whether the site of the Balochistan Sphinx was carved by a long-lost forgotten civilization, as some authors think, or if it's just another site on Earth where weather, erosion, and geology carved a curious formation. This is on Mystery History Collector Spark. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.